students, in this sessions we are discussing about most important question that is asked in a theory exam for 8 marks, that is what is data structure and explain the classification or a types of an data structure. This will ask for 8 marks in a theory exam. Before going to the classification or a types of an data structure, we have to know what exactly the data structure. Data means it is a element or a item, either a information, that is nothing but a data. Exactly what exactly the data structure? Data structure is how we can organize the data, how we can store the data in logically and more efficiently, that is nothing but a data structure. Next we are going through the classification of a data structure. The data structure can be classified mainly into two categories. One is the primitive data structure. Next, second one is the non-primitive data structure. The primitive data structure examples are integers, float, character, pointers. And non-primitive data structure can be classified into two categories. One is the linear data structure, one more is a non-linear data structure. Example for the linear data structure is a stacks, queue and lists. And again, the non-linear data structure example is trees and graphs. And next, discussing about one by one what is a primitive data structure, non-primitive data structure, and linear data structure and non-linear data structure. Okay. First one is a primitive data structure. Primitive data structure is nothing but a kind of a data structure. In this data structure, whatever the data we have, that is atomic. Atomic means that it has a predefined specification and the behavior specification. It means that it has its own value, that is nothing but atomic or individuals. Okay, example for the primitive data structure is a integers, float, boolean, character and the pointers. In this case we have to know exactly the integer, float, boolean, the characters, and these are the basic data types. It holds the data values. But pointer, it is also primitive data structure, but it does not hold the data values. It holds the address, means memory address of the data values. So this is about pointers. Next type of an data structure is a non-primitive data structure. The non-primitive data structure is purely opposite to the primitive data structure. Why it is that? In this data structure what happened, whatever the data elements we have, that is not in atomic. It means that it is also called it as a derived data structure. Why it is derived data structure means this is derived from the primitive data structure. If you want to implement any non-primitive data structure by using a primitive data structure, that is nothing but an integer, float, boolean, character. Example for the non-primitive data structure is arrays, stack, queue and the lists. In coming session, we are discussing more detail about the each data structure. Okay. Next is again we can classify the non-primitive data structure into two categories, that is the linear data structure and the non-linear data structure. What exactly the linear data structure? Linear data structure, its name only implies linear. Linear means sequence. It means that in this data structure, whatever the data elements we have, whatever the items we have, that can be arranged in a linear fashion or a sequence. That is nothing but a linear data structure. Example for the linear data structures are the arrays, stacks, queues and the lists. And next is a second type of a non-primitive data structure, that is a non-linear data structure. In this data structure what happened, whatever the data elements we have, that cannot be arranged in a sequence, that is nothing but a non-linear data structure. Example for the non-linear data structure is a trees and graphs. In the upcoming session we are discussing more detail about trees and graphs. And thank you.